Well, in this one video, we're going to talk about 7 types of webinars you can leverage, 7 types of workshop models that you can leverage, 7 types of webinars, masterclasses, anything that you want to do for all the way from 60 minutes to all the way to 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever that is. You can have it, but then ideal timing for you doing anything online, as in the sales call that you do, the sales session that you do, the sales training that you do, where you're going to pitch them for the next level that you've got, for pitching them to a community that you've got, pitching them something higher. Maybe you're conducting this for free. Maybe you're conducting maybe this can be even a free one or a paid version of it, but you're taking them from this point to a different point. That being the intention, what are the 7 types of webinars that you can do? And in this video, we're going to cover up all those 7 things over here. Thank you so much for joining in this one video / podcast. However you're listening, thank you so much. And we are going to dive deep into all 7 angles of it. The first and foremost point is content driven. So if you want to remember through abbreviations, you can remember in this way. Okay, so first is the C part of it, the content driven part of it. Think about the first is content driven, second is value driven. Okay, so first type is content driven, second type is value driven. So both are connected, there are more on the same lines, but are also connected in a different way as well. So what do I mean by content driven and value driven? This specific calls and webinars that you do, they are just you sharing those things so that they learn things from you. They do not have to be Q&A session. They do not have to be anything else. This is something that, this is something that I've learned. Say for example, this one video that you're watching, or this one podcast that you're listening to. This is something that I'm not asking questions to you. This is something that I'm not having conversation with you. This is something that I'm not showing around showing us like, this is how you do, this is how you write A. This is how you do algebra. I'm not showing anything. I'm not demonstrating anything. This is completely based on content, completely based on value, where I thought and I found this an interesting topic, and I want you to be aware of it, you to learn, you to understand, and the action taking part is up to you. It's not up to me. Though we have got a lot of tactical strategies for you to take, for help you inspire and motivate you, for you to take the action so that you can get results. That's a different ballgame altogether. But here the whole thing is, only Fazil is going to talk for next 10 minutes. When you talk about the session, Fazil is just going to talk about next 90 minutes. You just have to listen, you just have to consume, you have to take notes. I cannot stop because I'm in the flow. You cannot, why do you have to be attentive in a call when we are attending a webinar? Is because I am not going to slow down. The people that you are attending webinars, they are not going to slow down. That's why when you are in the safe place of I just have to focus on this one thing, I have to just take notes, so that nobody gets to disturb me. Nobody gets to steal the time that I've got, because this time is cleared for next 90 minutes. So it's all based on content and value, where I come out, where you go out, and where you teach people, where you coach people, where you do the training session, where nobody disturbs you. One of the things that I've learned, my first ever webinar for my mentors community, where a friend of mine, he said, I said, I'm very scared to do this. He said, Fazal, don't be scared. Think about, you are talking to a friend over a call, and that friend is not going to disturb you for the next 60 minutes. I was like, that's a very nice way of looking at things, because yes, when you're doing a webinar, nobody gets to disturb you. It's just you talking. And if you see the participants, then you get to see how there are so many members inside the call. But then if you actually look at it, it's just you talking, and you're adding value, and you're helping out people with content value. The third type of a webinar that is based around is Q&A driven, question and answer driven, a specific session that you can do. Now this again can be a paid session, can be a free session, it can be even for your community. This can even work as a sales call for you, where it's completely based on Q&A. Now this can more be this can more be on the side of hot audience that you've got, who have already interacted with you, who have already learned from you, who have already seen your content. They know what you do, they know what your community stands for, they know what your course is selling, and stuff like that. So when you do a session, I just want to help, I just want to answer all your questions. Get over this call. We'll have a discussion. We'll have a Q&A session, like good 90 minutes of a Q&A session. Again, the motive of this one is to take them to a different level, because of course you've got courses out there, you have got community out there that's going to be like an ecosystem for them to help and learn from it within the community. But then this Q&A session that you do is purely based on, okay, ask me questions, I'm going to give you answers. Ask me any questions, I'm going to give you answers. Point number 3. The type number 4 is the demonstration driven webinars. Okay, demonstration driven webinars. Now when you say demonstration webinars, these are common term that we are using. The common term that is being using within the market, within the online ecosystem right now is a workshop. When you think about it in an offline world, it's a workshop. For example, if I want to go and learn skating, and they have like 6 hours skating workshop, it's demonstration based. They tell you, you have to be doing this, you have to wear the shoes like this, the socks you have to wear in this format, the dress is supposed to be in this way, and then for example, ice skating, that is something that I used to way back when I was a kid. So you wear a specific set of shoes, you then take like first step here, and then second step here. You don't go running, you take first step, you do second step, then third step, you hold my hand. It's purely based on they are demonstrating you. As they are demonstrating you, you are taking those actions along with them. Whenever you have, I think this is one of the best ways of doing something, because when you're taking actions along with them, you are going to have a lot of questions. You note down those questions and ask the trainer immediately, because now you're taking action. You're not just learning it, because learning and doing things are way too different. When you're doing things, it's more on the lines of you are taking that as a challenge and you're taking that one step. And when you're taking that one step, you are going to make mistakes. If I ask you like write A in this format, you're going to write in A in this format, but then it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different, because now you're writing A for the first time. I'm writing A for like 1,000th time. There's a huge difference. Zameen Asman ka farak bolte na visa. Fifth type is an exercise driven webinar. Now exercise based driven is something that this is one of my favorite ways, because I never used to take actions way back, and I never used to do things when for example, if you're teaching me something, if mentors are teaching something, I was like, I will write down all the notes that I have to write down over here, and I'm going to do it tomorrow. And that tomorrow never comes. Like tomorrow never dies is a movie, but for me tomorrow never comes. But when you see, when I started taking the meetups for the community, when I started doing the quotable cause, when I started taking meetups for the mentors community, one thing that I've always incorporated is I want to help you take an action right now. The reason being, one, I can hold you accountable in that I have control in that 90 minutes where you are here to learn something, and I'm going to not just make you learn, I'm going to teach you 2 things, and I'm going to make you do those 2 things immediately. Once you do this, it becomes one of the most effective ways of you building the momentum. If you know me, if you know what I do, if you know how I do things, one of the things that I am focused all the time is on a momentum. If I can be of any help, helping you to take that one step which will create a momentum for you, like a kickstart, which is going to be very difficult when you're doing it alone, but when you have someone, for example, like me, or the community, or people around you who wants to help you, if they can help you build that momentum, help you take that first step, see the magic that happens. The 6th type is conversation driven. This is a combination of all of it, where more on the lines of it's closer to Q&A session, but then it's not Q&A session, where I ask you one question. Say for example, if you're talking to a friend, if you're talking to a member, if you're talking to a cold client one-on-one, and you want to convert that client into your member, paid member, what happens is, in a conversation driven, is you understand a pattern of that one person, you understand a pattern of what that person is doing, and then you start talking about it, you start sharing things about it, you start coaching that person, you start taking that person to a direction. Again, this is not Q&A session. He did not ask you a question because he himself or she herself doesn't know what the question is, but then you are trying to figure out a pattern, and based on that pattern you are being the facilitator. You are kind of helping that person go in a specific direction based on your skills, based on your experience, based on what you feel is the best for them and what's the best for them eventually. This is conversation driven. The 7th one is all of the above. Seventh one is all of the above. You can have in one 90-minute session, you can have content, you can have value, you can have Q&A, you can demonstrate people, you can help them take an action, that's an exercise. Also, you can have conversations. That brings us to the conclusion of this one video. 7 types of webinars: value, content, value, Q&A, demonstration, exercise, conversation, all of the above. CVQDECA. That brings us to the conclusion of this one video / podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in this one video. I hope this has helped you getting clarity on how you have to be doing a webinar. Where do you find yourself? Where do you find you are great at doing things? And how can you blend in what you're great at and do a sales webinar for you? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much, and I'm going to see you in another exciting video that I've got planned for you. I don't know whether you have seen it or not, but then the next plan is like 3 rules of engagement for my introvert entrepreneur masterclass. That's what I'm going to record next. I don't know when I'm going to publish it, probably soon. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch that. Thank you so much. I'm going to see you in another exciting video / podcast.
سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي كي تستريح.